I think Schwartz has options. I think he'd be a hot commodity on the market if he does want, if he really is serious about leaving, if the Browns let him out of his contract, which under the circumstances might be the right thing to do.
Yes.
I think San Francisco would look at him.
Yeah.
Wait and see. I think there's a DC opening coming up here just very soon that he has ties to that could go back.
What do you mean?
Well, that's our next topic. So we were going to discuss and rank the attractiveness of the current open. There's 7 current open defensive coordinator positions.
We've talked about where the Browns' job ranks in terms of head coach. But now, okay, so what are the 7 open jobs?
You can see them on your screen right there. The Browns, this is assuming Schwartz would leave. So this is the Browns as an opening. San Francisco, Washington, Miami, Baltimore, Tennessee, and Buffalo all currently have open defensive coordinator positions.
And there's more to come.
Jason, I'm curious. That means if there's 2 teams playing in the Super Bowl, that is New England and Seattle, does that mean one of those 2 defensive? Is that one of the ones you're alluding to?
No, I think Philadelphia could come open. I think Jim would be a fit back in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I did see the Philadelphia thing. But then again, if in Philadelphia, if they fire him, is he play in Cleveland?
Say again?
If Philadelphia fires their defensive coordinator, is he a play?
Well, I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to retire.
Okay.
Who's their DC?
Vic
right
Fangio.
now?
Vic Fangio.
Oh.
So if Vic retires, which some indications are pointing that way.
Yeah.
Then I think Jim could be a fit to go back to Philly if he wanted to.
Where do you guys think? So let me give you my thoughts on the Browns' DC job. I think a lot of people will say, well, it's a great job. They've got a great talent. There's defense. But to me, like if you're looking as the Browns' job as a stepping stone, are you going to get any credit if the defense is good? The defense has been good. It feels like it could only go down from where it is.
Well,
Jim Schwartz is going to get the credit for the defense.
I think you're really close.
Yeah.
It's a great job in terms of the talent that you get to come in and coach. If you're looking at this as a stepping stone to a head coaching job, do you know how many Browns coordinators have left the OC or DC position to go directly into head coaching job elsewhere?
1.
0.
What about Kyle Shanahan?
No, he went to Atlanta to be an OC.
Oh, that's right.
So they like don't misunderstand. They've had some very good assistant coaches come through that building.
Sure.
I'm talking back since the OC position was created in 1983.
Yeah.
They have never had an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator leave their staff to become a head coach elsewhere. I had to look it up this morning because I was stunned.
That's wild.
As I started to think about it, I'm like, what's the last one? Well, I couldn't think of one because it never happened. That's how. I
wonder if they're the only team in football.
That's how bad the Browns have been. That they've never had a coordinator. And again, they've had Nick Saban in the building. They've had tremendous coaches. But to go straight from that, because when you take a coordinator job as a stepping stone to then be a head coach, that's the goal, whether it's offensive or defensive. But so you get a lot of talent to come in here and coach. But if you're looking at this going, all right, I can do a great job here and I can go move into a head coaching role, well, you would be the first. So
everybody knows the defense is already good, so how much credit are you going to get for it?
Oh, you'll get credit because you're also going to get killed if you screw it up.
Oh, God, if it goes backwards?
Yeah.
But isn't it more likely to go at least a little backwards? I mean, how much better can it be?
It depends on the scheme. It depends if you're and like the name I gave you, Nick Rollis. Even he's run a lot more 3-4 in the past than 4. I think it's a little bit more of a hybrid. But if you have to call one or the other, it'd probably be 3-4. So if they do something to drastically change the scheme, and again, we talked about it on the YouTube show. I think part of the reason they were so adamant about keeping Schwartz is because they built this team to fit him and this scheme. When you spend the 5th overall pick on a defensive tackle, that's because of how much respect you have for the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
You're trying to give him the pieces because they should have gone offense. Yeah. Honestly. We knew it was a bad offense, and they spent their top 2 picks on defense. So they're really trying to find someone who can fit the scheme of what they've already had success with.
If you can't get none out of these guys, I don't know what's up with you. Like, because corner, they tell them to go on an island and cover him man to man. That ain't gonna change. You put Myles Garrett in a lot of different positions. Put his hand in the dirt, hey, go rush the quarterback, get upfield. Like. The only thing
that coaching matters, then otherwise why would we care that much about Jim Schwartz?
Well, it's because there's other positions that's more important. Linebackers are more important in terms of whether or not you're a 2-gap system where you want guys to take up blocks so the linebackers can flow free, or are you a penetrating defense where it's like the philosophy is, all right, well, we just want to be in the backfield. Jim Schwartz wants to disrupt things, and mainly the secondary is where you have more changes because now you're you're talking about going from a strictly, most likely man-to-man type defense to now you're mixing in more, like Joe Woods was running a lot of cover 3 and cover 4. And remember how we used to have those busts back there because guys would just be walking around wide open. So, you know, when you run more zone, you have to communicate more. Jim Schwartz had them playing fast. Like, hey, our corners is better than you. We got rush ends, and we just gonna believe that we can get to your quarterback before you can throw it.
All right, let's bring up the list again, Mike. We're gonna force to rank the DC jobs. Mike is putting our feet to the fire here. 1 through 7. Go ahead, Jason. You're up first.
Oh, man.
To me, there's an easy one.
It doesn't have to necessarily be 1 through 7, but what's your top 2 and
to me, the best.
What are the Browns?
To me, I would say the 49ers because they got a lot of talent on defense, but they were injured last year, so they weren't very good, and I think they'll be good next year.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good. Plus, you got a great head coach.
But again, are you taking a job to be a stepping stone to become a head coach? Yeah, I take the 49ers and the Ravens for sure.
Right.
The Browns, I think there's as much or more talent on the Browns than any of those other teams.
But I'm not basing it on talent alone on defense. I'm basing like with the Browns, it feels like you can only go down.
Yeah.
Whereas the rest of these teams, you could go up. But I would still say I'd rather the Browns gig than the Titans, the Dolphins, or even the Commanders. I would go Niners 1, Ravens 2, Bills 3, Browns 4, and then the other 2.
I mean, you're going to win. You got a better shot to win at those 3 that you just mentioned.
Yeah,
If it's just strictly on, okay, this is the defense and this is what the players is, I think the Browns got more talent than everybody on that list.
Right, but if you're a DC, wouldn't you rather be the DC of the Niners or the Ravens or the Bills?
No, because I want to control. If I'm just on the defense, I want. If you look at it, you say, you give me Myles Garrett, Carson Swetzer is doggone good. Great, like Grant Delpit is great, and I got a lockdown corner too. I could do something with that.
But it's not. It's less likely to lead. Most guys going for these jobs want to be a head coach.
Hey, if you just ask me if I'm going to take a job based on what the roster look like, based on the pieces and parts, I think the Browns are head and shoulders better defensively in terms of the talent level than some of them teams.
But I think coaches look at more than just that.
Yeah, based on if you want to look strictly
based
at
on talent, I agree. Browns are number 1.
I think it's number 1, but it is more complicated than that when you're trying to choose a job.